This week on Alan's Antics, 1984 by George Orwell was a warning, not a manual. This from Breitbart.com. And don't forget your Newspeak and IngSoc. Obama signs bill banning government use of Negro and Oriental. The measure, H.R. 4238, was an amendment to the Local Public Works Capital Development and Investment Act of 1976 to modernise terms relating to minorities. The legislation passed unanimously in the House of Representatives and the US Senate earlier this year. The law also updates the terms the US federal government uses to describe minorities. American Indians will now be referred to as Native Americans, while, according to the law's language, a Spanish-speaking individual of Spanish descent will be referred to as Hispanic. Many Americans may not be aware that the word Oriental is derogatory, said Representative Grace Meng of New York, and one of the bill's original sponsors. Quote, "But it is an insulting term that needed to be removed from the books, and I am extremely pleased that my legislation to do that is now the law of the land." The term Oriental has no place in federal law, and at long last, this insulting and outdated term will be gone for good, said Representative Meng. End quote. Representative Meng pushed through similar legislation in 2009 whilst working in the New York State Legislature. A bill mirroring the law Obama signed is being backed by Washington State Senator Pramila Jayapal. Last month, the Library of Congress began revising its official use of terms like illegal alien and alien on its subject headings after a group of college activists and the American Library Association protested the agency's use of those phrases. Our country is a rich tapestry of cultural backgrounds, and Americans of all backgrounds deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, said Californian Republic Representative Ed Royce, an original sponsor of the bill. And quite right, everybody should be treated with respect and dignity, but that does not mean that one man should be able to put a law into place which bans words in a country, because what's next? This is just pure thought crime. Remember, IngSoc, Newspeak, double plus good, Big Brother is watching you. Over the last few weeks and months, I've been thinking hard about population and the genetic code of the human beings. And there's one book which outlines the history of eugenics. And it's not the Nazis, before you get on your high horse and start talking about, oh, you know, it was the Nazis that killed all these people and they developed eugenics and everything. There's a lot more history to it than that. The idea of eugenics and genetic control started way before Hitler and way before the Nazis had anything to do with geneticism and the Aryan race and developing the superhuman. They got their ideas from the British and the Americans.
Margaret Sanger, lover of H.G. Wells, promoted this philosophy in the U.S.
Oh, let me just chip in here a little bit about Margaret Sanger and Hillary Clinton. Margaret Sanger? Well, there's a name. Have a listen to what Hillary Clinton has to say about Margaret Sanger.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be back in Houston with so many friends and to have an opportunity to participate in the Planned Parenthood annual meeting. I have to tell you that it was a great privilege when I was told that I would receive this award. I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. Her courage, her tenacity, her vision. Another of my great friends. Ellen Chesler is here, who wrote a magnificent biography of Margaret Sanger called Woman of Valor. And when I think about what she did all those years ago in Brooklyn, taking on archetypes, taking on attitudes and accusations flowing from all directions, I am really in awe of her. And there are a lot of lessons that we can learn from her life and from the cause she launched and fought for and sacrificed so greatly.
By 1923, Sanger's eugenics campaign had received massive funding from the Rockefeller family. In a letter to eugenicist Clarence Gamble, Sanger revealed a scheme to recruit African-American religious leaders to their cause so they would act as Judas goats in luring black Americans toward sterilization programs and even extermination. She wrote, quote, "The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal. We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members." The awful plan was crystallized in 1939 with Sanger's Negro Project, aimed at reducing the African-American population because Negroes, quote, "still breed carelessly and disastrously, with the result that the increase among Negroes, even more than among whites, is from that portion of the population least intelligent and fit." Sanger, who founded the eugenics organization that would become Planned Parenthood, was an open supporter in the 1930s of the Nazi genetic engineering program designed to create a super race.
Well, that was just a little snapshot of the week on Alan's Antics on RadioFreeUK.org. To hear the full recordings and a whole lot more, go to RadioFreeUK.org. And there'll be more next week. Take care and have a safe one.